Mike King Biz, the premier business media brand covering and connecting Central Virginia. It's home to Mike King Biz Radio, producer of On the Mic with Mike RVA, which airs on ESPN Richmond 106.1 FM, The Choice 105.3 FM, and worldwide on IBGR.network. Follow Mike King Biz for the best business-ish content in RVA.
Hello, this is Juwanda Smith with Let's Do It Right Events. Welcome to the Purpose Driven Panel mini-series with Mike King Biz. The purpose is to show how business helps society. Each business represented is an example of this. Joining us today, we have Dean Francis, Kelvin Oliver, Rich Reinecke, Mark Smith, and Polly White. All episodes can be found on Facebook at Mike King Biz.
Everybody, my name is Anna. Anna, like Princess Anna from Frozen. My last name is So Then, like the beginning of a story, and hopefully you'll remember my name. But I am the publisher for Swift Creek Living and Powhatan Living. So what I do is I put really great businesses in front of their ideal customers in the monthly publication that people actually like to read because there is a family on the front cover. So I am super excited for everybody to be here today so that we can talk about the purpose-driven CEO. I think that's super important as a small business owner. Being driven and being purposeful in what we do helps our entire environment, right? The people that we meet, the people that we connect with when we come from a place of service, who I know all of these individuals, whether it be personally or we've met because of business, or I've just met somebody, the energy that these individuals bring to their business is absolutely phenomenal. So I'm so excited for you guys to hear from the panel today. We are going to do this from 11 to noon, and then at noon we are going to go out and have some really, really yummy lunch. That'll be about 30 minutes, then we'll come back. We'll come back to the panel as well, too. And that'll go to about 1:15, and then we'll do some Q&A afterwards. So I'm excited because my friend, Mike King, the gentleman who invites you to ride his coattails and help you build your business, build your brand, is the one who is facilitating this and the moderator for this. So I'm super excited for Mike to share with us and ask these wonderful individuals all about them. So, Mike, take it away.
Thank you, Anna. That's my friend Anna Soden. One of the things is that knowing great people, it really helps putting this together. So we'd like to thank our friends who made this, who are here coming in to talk about what they do. The panel is a group of heavy hitters, people who are really making an impact in the community. And my business is Mike King Biz. It's a social enterprise business that shows that business can help society be better. And when I thought of this idea, I looked at these people, and I'm like, those are the people. So we're going to start down on the end with my man, Dean Francis. Dean, really quickly, tell us who you are and what you do.
I'm Dean Francis. I am a partner and senior consultant at One Bridge Advisors, where we are helping people uncover funds that are often overlooked, the employee retention credit and the self-employment tax credit.
Mark Smith.
Hi, I'm Mark Smith. I own Midday Richmond.
What? Ladies and gentlemen, what are you, shortchanging me?
Hi, I'm Mark Smith. I'm tall, and I own Midday Richmond. That was pointed out to me earlier, so I can say that officially.
So, Mark Smith of Midas, when people, you see him all over TV, and there are a couple of things I tell people. I banged on your door how long? It was some years.
A while.
Yes, it was. And you taught me that no is not a four-letter word. It's not bad. And I always ask you, how do you pick out the nonprofits to partner with? And you said I could do a number of them, a little bit, or either I could really have an impact. So the man next to me, Rich Reinecke, I knew what you guys did in the community before I knew who you were. I had no idea what Fahrenheit Advisors are. So, sir, the floor is yours.
Thank you. I'd like to ride Mike's coattails. My name's Rich Reinecke. I'm one of the co-founders of Fahrenheit Advisors, and I think it makes me so proud that you knew that we were making an impact before you knew really who we are, and I think that is purposeful.
There we go. Polly and Doug White, you guys have supported me for a long time, and I appreciate it. They are the owners of Gather, and really quickly, ma'am, let folks know who you are.
Right. Well, first of all, apparently I am two people in one. So Doug and Polly, right? That's our brand.
It's a team.
It is, and I left my teammate behind this morning. He had a lot of work to do. But I'm happy to be here today. Polly White with Gather. I'm one of the founders of our organization, and we are currently the largest co-working company in the state of Virginia. So we have 7 locations and about 3,000 members that we serve daily.
My man Kelvin Oliver, Core Mortgage, really a big-time partner and sponsor on the Mic with Mike, always and forever, and really a big champion of the community. He sponsors a lot of things. He's really on the sports side. So he made me understand that Mike King, you're on the Mic with Mike, you're on ESPN Richmond. Maybe you ought to do something with sports. Here's a radical idea.
I am Kelvin Oliver. I'm with Core Mortgage. I'm not tall, so instead of playing basketball, I officiate it. But yeah, that's my deal.
Alrighty, let's start on the end. Dean, you do a lot in the community. Explain, and the name of this is Welcome to a Purpose-Driven CEOs. It is the power of purpose in business. Dean, give us an idea of what that means to you and your organization.
When you say the word purpose, obviously, probably like a lot of people, my mind goes directly to Purpose-Driven Life by Rick Warren, where he opens the book by saying it's not about you. And I think that we are designed as human beings to serve others. And I think the more that we capture that in everything that we do, the more energy we have, the harder we work, the bigger we dream, and great things come from that.
Mark Smith, when we look at TV and we see you there, can you touch on using the power of media to get the message out? Everyone knows Shalom Farms, Goochland Cares. You pick out those organizations and you put the power of your business behind the mission to help folks.
So you've got some really great nonprofits in Central Virginia making big impacts every day. And the idea comes down to funding. You've got to have mind share before you get market share. So when we get behind the nonprofits we support, the idea is to get awareness going, because once we get awareness growing, we get profits growing. And it's pretty simple math in our world. We spend about $400,000 a year in local marketing, and we target that at 6 area nonprofits.
And what are those 6 nonprofits?
Ask, which is childhood cancer, Shalom Farms, Goochland Cares, Feed More, Central, Colonial Heights Food Bank, and what's the 6th one? That's okay.
See, Mark Smith, he rolls with help.
Absolutely.
It's like it is a team sport. So, Rich, when we look at your organization, you guys are. Explain exactly what Fahrenheit Advisors are. Thank you.
Well, I think at the core of who we are, one, we're passionate about serving our community, right? I think that when we launched Fahrenheit, Keith and I talked mostly about the impact we wanted to have on people in our community, not so much about the services we wanted to deliver. So the foundation of our firm really is surrounding this particular discussion today. But what we do for organizations is build confidence so that business owners, mostly of middle market companies, have the confidence to make great business decisions across anything that really impacts their C-suite, from accounting and finance, HR, sales, finding great talent.
Alrighty, Polly White, Gather is in the community. It's not just a co-working space.
No.
It's not. It's family. It's everyone coming in. It's networking. It's all those things. When you put that idea together, what was it like? Didn't you guys realize that this thing is working? Because now all of a sudden, you're not just a business, you're a community-centered business helping. And I know you guys help a bunch of people.
Right, but when we got started, first of all, there was tequila involved, but
that's
yes,
exactly the remedy for a good start.
So Doug and I were in Colorado and Denver back in 2013, and it was Cinco de Mayo weekend, which is why I say there was tequila involved. And we had just seen this new concept, co-working, in Denver. And we had partnered and bought a small commercial building downtown Richmond, and we had about 9,000 square feet we didn't know what we were going to do with. And both of us looked at each other and went, we could put something like that here in Richmond. And then it became this wouldn't it be great if? Wouldn't it be great if we...
Bryant and Stratton College helped me take charge of my future by being built different to give me more. More flexibility, more opportunities to make it work, more choices that made financial sense, more ways to get ahead faster, and more options, so I could work directly in patient care or in a medical office career. See how Bryant and Stratton College is built different for you.
Hola, hola, Adriana here at the Hilton downtown Richmond for our first annual Cocktails and Connections with Core Mortgage. Everyone here is welcome.
Hi, I'm Ricky McNeil with Fathom Realty. I do business with Core Mortgage. We here at Cocktails and Connections having a great time. Come on out next time.
Hey everyone, I'm DeWanda with Let's Do It Right Events, and I expect to see you at every event Core Mortgage hosts. Because guess what? If you need a mortgage or you want to connect and have cocktails, this is the place to be. Look forward to seeing you at their next event. Thank you.
How you doing? My name is Dion Fox. I'm here at the Core Mortgage Mixer. Kelvin Oliver's a good friend of mine. We go back to high school teammates. So, you know, good people, good crowd. He's a good person. See you at the next one.
Bryant and Stratton College prepared me to get ahead in nursing by being built different to give me more. More accommodating to fit my busy schedule, more affordable than I thought, so a nursing degree was within my reach. More support to help me along the way, and more quickly, so I could get here as soon as possible. If you're ready for more, see how Bryant and Stratton College is built different for you.
Mike King Biz, on the Mic with Mike, Richmond's premier business radio platform.
Make it move! Judging how you judge it, say we going corporate. Nah, we just corner boys with the corner office. I'm at the cap table, what the splits is. Not that cap table, boy, we live this.
Promoting how business can make the community better. No one does it better than Mike King Biz, on the Mic with Mike. Check it out.
Welcome everyone once again for coming out to Networking with Mike King. Please give Mike King a round of applause. Thank you, Mike King, as always, for giving us amazing events to come together, network, partner with the Hilton, and just provide a nice, safe space, right, to network among like-minded individuals in the business world.
Could have a whole bunch of small businesses together that could network with each other. And wouldn't it be great if there were more than one of these locations around Richmond so that you were never more than about 20 minutes from another one? And wouldn't it be great if we had all these different things for small business so that they didn't have to worry about things? Because we worked out of our home at that point. And we knew what it was like not to be able to have a conference room and need to see a client and end up in Panera. So it just was this, wouldn't it be great if, and during that weekend, we wrote the business plan for Gather on a bunch of bar napkins while drinking tequila. And but it worked out, and it became from that weekend what it is today. I mean, we built it for small business, to help small businesses.
Sometimes when you go into, and I tell people, brands precede people. You know, you'll know about a person's brand long before you meet them. When the first time I went to Gather, and it was in Duke Dotson's building in the basement, I thought that was the coolest thing I'd ever seen.
That was my building too.
I remember you told me.
That was the building we partnered on, yeah.
And so then years later, it turns into Gather is a place that people come to, and they find a home. They're entrepreneurs, a lot of times really working from home. They're doing the Panera thing. And so you give them a place. Kelvin Oliver, how do you figure which nonprofits you're going to partner with and support? Because as all you guys know, people knock on the door all the time. And there's help, and then there's sometimes you can and sometimes you can't.
I think for me, I try to partner where I stay in my lane. So everybody knows my two loves. I love real estate and I love sports, particularly basketball, right? And so anything that kind of falls under either of those umbrellas, particularly in the sports realm, I'm usually all about it. I get to see it from a number of different angles with officiating everything. You can see me in a middle school game, or you can see me in a college game, and everything in between, right? And so that's what I'm passionate about. And I think when you're passionate about something, it makes it easy, right? It makes it easy to promote it, it makes it easy to be involved with it. So that's one of the things I look for, just things that I'm interested in.
It's Mike King here with this esteemed panel. We are coming to you from the Hilton. Shout out to John Cario and our good friends here. They're always great partners with us. Rich, let's talk about the Richmond nonprofit purpose-driven ecosystem. I was sitting at your place and you told me about this crazy thing that happened to you with American Heart. Fast forward 8 months later, here I am. So shout out to you. Told me about this American Heart thing is great.
Yeah.
And here I am, one of the leaders of impact out there, canvassing, helping for money. Talk about the ecosystem here when you see other business owners and business leaders, and what drives you guys to do that?
Absolutely. Well, you know, the story about American Heart really quick is, you know, sometimes you get involved with things for one reason, and then it becomes clear why you really got involved with it. And I got a call from my good friend Eric Edwards, who's the founder of Flow Corporation, who had been the chair the previous year. And it was a Sunday afternoon. He's like, hey, I want to talk to you about this, and I really want you to think about it deeply before you answer, but I think you would be a really good chair for American Heart. I had never done anything with American Heart before. I hadn't been to the Heart Ball before. So it was a leap off a very scary edge. Then Monday, I got a call from American Heart, and they said, we're so excited that you're the chair. So I'm like, all right, I'm in. And then it really unfolded, you know, when I really reflected about, you know, the impact that we could have as a firm and the impact that American Heart has had on me. You know, my dad has had some major heart issues. He was helicoptered to VCU, you know, just months before I got that call from Eric. My mother had heart issues. You know, my father-in-law just recently had a heart attack a couple years ago. So when you really kind of look back, you think, this is why I've been called to do this. Then I started to really think about what impact could we have, and I saw a video that American Heart produced of a couple of college kids walking across a parking lot. One of them was struck by lightning and his heart stopped. And the other kid had just interacted with a training tool that American Heart puts, you know, like in an airport, a kiosk where you can learn how to do hands-only CPR in just a few minutes. And he had just seen that, and he was able to save that kid's life. And it really, you know, my impression of Heart was, you know, mostly older folks, but not that it could be my kid or any one of us. So our entire organization got really passionate about teaching people how to save a life, because if something happens to one of us in this room, you know, the majority of the time, no one knows what to do. So we're passionate about teaching everybody in this room, everybody in your home, everybody in our city to know what to do. And, you know, not only are you a leader of impact, but last year I suckered my son, who works with us.
Yes. Okay, so let's get down to it. On the Mic with Mike is a business show. And I'm like, I can do okay with this, asking people for money, because I'm a business show and I know a bunch of people. And I'm like, I'm going to hit up Rich and Fahrenheit. The next day, they're like, hey, you know, Parker. I'm like, Well, his son's the one of, my competition now. I guess I can't ask him for money. And so when we look at it, we're in different ages in our career, but your son saw the opportunity to help. And that's why I told with you and your wife, I'm like, that's something that you guys have done. Because a lot of times we learn those things further down in our career. So Mark Smith, when a business owner is out there and they're trying to figure out help is knocking on the door, how do you become a purpose-driven organization?
It starts with belief, Mike. You've got to believe in what you support. We have a saying that, if your heart doesn't own an issue, your head never will. Because we all get chased by BSOs, bright, shiny objects.
Yes.
And if we don't commit to doing something that is meaningful to us, and we invest in those very topics, and we stay invested in those topics, the idea is what happens when you multiply 6 by 18? Meaning, what happens when you multiply the 6 inches between your ears by the 18 inches from your heart to your head? You become a change agent. You're a shining example of that. So we've strategically chosen the partners we have to allow us to build unique messaging and get out of the commodity business and into the change agent business.
There you go. So Dean, when you look at business owners, sometimes your personal bleeds over into the business life and helping. When you're out there, a lot of people knock on your door. You'd help a lot of people. How do you determine who you can help, how much you can help, and what do you tell? It's a tough conversation. Like, you can't help everyone. You can't.
Yeah, it's tough. I'm just going to piggyback on that word passion that you all have used.
That's the name of your church, too, as well.
Yes.
Give a shout out to your church, man.
Yeah. I attend Passion Community Church. And I just think there's a connection there that we can't all describe. We're all wired a little different, sports, heart, we've mentioned so far. But I remember when I first met Stephanie Becker from Better Together, and I only heard her speak for maybe 5 minutes. And I was just immediately captivated by what they were doing and how she just, how she presents herself. And I could just tell, like, these are people that I can believe in. They have a purpose. And so I just started. Sometimes you just got to start. And they had a golf tournament. I thought, great, I can do that. And then the next thing you know, you learn more. And maybe that now becomes more of a long-term relationship.
There you go, Polly. Everybody who knows, we always talk about culture, setting culture in an organization. How do you set that culture for everyone in the organization? That you're going to be a purpose-driven. There you go. No question. That's yours.
Yeah. No, that's okay. Culture always comes from the top. So the people who work with you are going to look at the leaders of your organization and see what they're doing. And so, I work with my husband, Doug, and then we have another business partner, James. But Doug and I, we're involved in a lot of organizations.
Yes,
in fact, Hart sucked me into, I'm on Go Red. I'm on their leadership team for Go Red. So I'm one of those people.
I don't know what happens. The phone rings. I talk to you, and I'm like, okay, that's a cool thing. Next thing I know, Kelly Till from the Times Dispatcher said, hey, Mike, I got an idea. And, it's like, okay, I'm in. So
yeah.
It starts at the top.
It does. And then you have to set the right kind of example. It also goes into your hiring. Who are you hiring for your organization? What are they passionate about? And I say we have to hire people who have that servant attitude, because we are a hospitality business. Think hotel, not real estate. And so, we're emptying the dishwashers and solving IT problems and directing people all day long and making sure your office isn't too hot or too cold and that the coffee is there and your favorite creamer is there. And so it's this constant thing. If you can't go home at the end of the day and say, I feel really great about what I did today because I solved problems for about 20 or 30 different people, and that's what I did today. I helped a whole bunch of folks. So that's how you build the culture. And Doug and I have to be emptying a dishwasher too, and I made coffee this morning because everybody's going to look to see what you're doing and then follow suit.
There you go.
Bryant and Stratton College helped me take charge of my future by being built different to give me more.
More flexibility, more opportunities to make it work, more choices that made financial sense, more ways to get ahead faster,
and more options, so I could work directly in patient care or in a medical office career. See how Bryant and Stratton College is built different for you.
MIKEKINGBIZ on the Mic with Mike, Richmond's premier business radio platform.
Making moves. Judging how you judge it, say we going corporate. Nah, we just corner boys with the corner office. I'm at the cap table, what the splits is. Not that cap table, boy, we live this.
Promoting how business can make the community better. No one does it better than MIKEKINGBIZ on the Mic with Mike. Check it out.
Welcome everyone once again for coming out to Networking with Mike King. Please give Mike King a round of applause. Thank you, Mike King, as always, for giving us amazing events to come together, network, partner with the Hilton, and just provide a nice, safe space, right, to network among like-minded individuals in the business world.
Bryant and Stratton College prepared me to get ahead in nursing by being built different to give me more. More accommodating to fit my busy schedule, more affordable than I thought, so a nursing degree was within my reach. More support to help me along the way, and more quickly, so I could get here as soon as possible. If you're ready for more, see how Bryant and Stratton College is built different for you.
Ladies and gentlemen, coming to the stage is MIKEKINGBIZ, the voice of RVA business media. At MIKEKINGBIZ, we celebrate the idea that business makes society better. On behalf of the
covering and connecting Central Virginia. It's home to MIKEKINGBIZ Radio, producer of On the Mic with Mike RVA, which airs on ESPN Richmond 106.1 FM, The Choice 105.3 FM, and worldwide on IBGR.network. Follow MIKEKINGBIZ for the best business-ish content in RVA.
Hello, this is Juwanda Smith with Let's Do It Right Events. Welcome back to episode 2 of the Purpose Driven Panel mini-series. The purpose is to show how business helps society. Each business represented is an example of this. Joining us today, we have Dean Francis, Kelvin Oliver, Rich Reinecke, Mark Smith, and Polly White. All episodes can be found on Facebook at MIKEKINGBIZ.
KO, Core Mortgage has been in business 20 years. How do you keep that going and keep purpose during those years?
Well, so I've been in the business for over 25 years. Now, Core, this is our 4th year in business, right? So, but in order to keep things going, I'm going to take from something that my wife often says, and I try to live by this, and I think it's part of our company culture. But she talks about doing things in good and decent order, right? And so that means working with a sense of integrity and making sure that you're not putting yourself or what you need first, but trying to put others first, and just making sure that you're doing the right thing, doing this as often as you possibly can, or really doing it all the time. How about that, right?
That is something, being consistent with it. I'm just going to throw it out to anyone on the panel here. Let's talk about, there's a new business owner, and talk to them about the bottom line effect that being a purpose-driven organization has. A lot of times people really thought it was just kind of like the feel-good stuff. You know, it's like the gobbledygook, can't we all just hold hands? But it does have a bottom line effect to it. Okay, who wants to jump on that?
I mean, I'd be happy to start that. You know, we have 130, 140 total employees at Fahrenheit, and it's not lost on me that every day, any one of our team can walk out and find a new place to work any day they want, and likely for more money than what we're paying them. I had a great compliment the other day from one of our team members that said, you know, I joined this firm not because of the job or the comp, but because of what the firm stands for. And I agree, Polly. I think I'd love to say that Keith and I designed this concept of community. It's one of our founding principles. It's something we talk about literally every day. Every time we get together, that's how we start our team meetings, is talking about our founding principles and how we brought them to life. I'd love to say that we designed that from the beginning to be the thing that was going to build our business. It was who we were, and it became who Fahrenheit is. And it has become extremely purposeful every day for us.
Having spent a lot of time in the military, Mark Smith, when you go to an area, you stake it out and it becomes your territory. I remember when you guys went to Boulevard, very intentional. This is what we're doing. Now you're going to Churchill. Talk about when you move into a community, you become part of that.
I think that's essential. I think it's an ecosystem. You used that word earlier. We've got church now. We had our first trunk or treat last month. We're having a Friendsgiving that's coming Saturday. Get to know the people who are in your backyard. Invest in your backyard. You know, the growth, to go to your question, Mike, the economics of the picture, there are 2,200 Midas stores across North America, the average of which does $1.1 million. Our short pump store this year will do $6 million. We're the largest volume Midas store in the world. We have been for 15, 16 years. Our smallest store will do 1.5, 1.6. So there's definitely an economic connection. It's hard to quantify, but when you invest in people, when you invest in education, first responders, all the things we do, Katie and I have been all over the market in Churchill, meeting firemen, meeting schools, talking to a couple nonprofits, just starting to cultivate awareness, and you just build that from there.
So I got one of the cool parts about having a radio show is I meet some cool people. So good friends of ours over at the Down Syndrome Association, they're like, hey, we want you to go talk to our friends. They run a church. And here we go to Midas, down on Boulevard, the church on Boulevard. That's what I call being part of the community. So not only are you fixing cars, also you're providing a space for a church.
So Drew and Paige approached us 2 years ago. Scott's is a big space. It's 18,000 square feet. And we had a room we weren't using, and they said, we'd like to see the church here. And when I spent an hour with these couple, they're just a fun, passionate couple. I bought in completely, and now they've got robust growth growing there, and it's a fun use of space.
It is fun. So on the mic, Mike, that's where we're here at the Hilton. This is a purpose-driven panel discussion. CEOs who understand using the power of their business. Dean Francis, I always call him, he's like the James Brown of business. He is the hardest working man. He is, and I go to a lot of things. Dean Francis is out there. Talk a little bit about, if you will, when you meet people, explaining to them what you do, and then using that, the power of that to do good.
Yeah, well, in our case, I'm gonna also kind of piggyback off of Mark. This has been exciting for us. This is a new business we started a year ago. I've been in business, kind of like you, Kelvin, for 30-some years, and I sold that company and got to start a new one. The old company was more national. This has allowed me to get involved in this community, in my own backyard, and it's exciting to be able to do that. I've got so many stories running through my head right now, but to answer that question, Mike, repeat that question.
Tell us the impact of One Bridge Advisors on the community.
Yeah, so in our case, I think we had a wide range of services that we could offer, and we chose this initial place to start because it's funding for small businesses and nonprofits that they're overlooking. And so when you think about impact, we thought, let's put as much energy as we can into this one thing that can have a rippling effect on the rest of the community. I think you asked, how do I talk about it? And I think that's often how I'm talking to people, is that this does not just affect you. It affects your employees. It affects your neighbors. It affects your community. And it leads to more and more. And I think that's what people get excited about. They get excited about purpose. They get excited about being a part of something that can have impact on others around them. And the more we get other people capturing that, the more impact we have. I think we've helped bring about $200 million so far in just our first year.
Let's. I want to touch on the system here. So, Polly, when the first time when you really realized the impact that Gather had on the community, what was that like?
Well, I'm not quite sure when I realized that or not, but so over the years, Gather has grown, and as I said earlier, we have about 3,000 members now. So years ago, we started doing a couple of different ways of reaching out to the community. So we have external partners, so other small businesses that are close to one of our Gather locations, and we'll partner with them. So we will allow them to advertise subtly to our members, and in exchange for that, our members might get a small discount at their establishment. So restaurants, Ray's Ice Cream comes to mind in Short Pump, but also exercise facilities and so on. So we felt that, this is a really good way for that business to be able to attract some members, and it benefits our members. One of the things that we're very careful about, or I am, when people approach us about partnerships, is Gather never takes any cut or anything. I say, if you want to do something with us where you're selling something to our members, give them a bigger discount rather than give it to Gather. The other thing we can do is we flip it around, and we have what we call Gather for Good, which is Gather will use our membership to do some kind of outreach. So whether it's gathering school supplies or tech for troops or whatever we're doing, we will support different kinds of organizations throughout the year and allow our members to help support them. I think it's really nice for our members because you get that in bigger companies. You know, if you're Capital One and you're a Capital One employee, they have lots of things you can go do, Habitat for Humanity or whatever. But if you're a small business, it's harder to do that. And so we facilitate that with our members, and we will have a cleanup day around Scott's Edition or do a Habitat for Humanity day and let what members want to come and participate do that. So we become kind of that bigger company umbrella for them.
Bryant and Stratton College helped me take charge of my future by being built different to give me more.
More flexibility. More opportunities to make it work. More choices that made financial sense. More ways to get ahead faster.
And more options, so I could work directly in patient care or in a medical office career. See how Bryant and Stratton College is built different for you.
Hola, hola, Adriana here at the Hilton downtown Richmond for our first annual Cocktails and Connections with Core Mortgage. Everyone here is welcome.
Hi, I'm Ricky McNeil with Fathom Realty. I do business with Core Mortgage. We here at Cocktail and Connections having a great time. Come on out next time.
Hey everyone, I'm Dewanda with Let's Do It Right Events, and I expect to see you at every event Core Mortgage hosts. Because guess what? If you need a mortgage or you want to connect and have cocktails, this is the place to be. Look forward to seeing you at their next event. Thank you.
How you doing? My name is Deon Fox. I'm here at the Core Mortgage Mixer. Kelvin Oliver's a good friend of mine. We go back to high school teammates. So, you know, good people, good crowd. He's a good person. See you at the next one.
Bryan and Stratton College prepared me to get ahead in nursing by being built different to give me more. More accommodating to fit my busy schedule, more affordable than I thought, so a nursing degree was within my reach. More support to help me along the way, and more quickly, so I could get here as soon as possible. If you're ready for more, see how Bryan and Stratton College is built different for you.
Mike King Biz on the Mic with Mike, Richmond's premier business radio platform.
Making moves. Judging how you judge it, say we going corporate. Nah, we just corner boys with the corner office. I'm at the cap table, what the splits is. Not that cap table, boy, we live this.
Promoting how business can make the community better. No one does it better than Mike King Biz on the Mic with Mike. Check it out.
Welcome everyone once again for coming out to Networking with Mike King. Please give Mike King a round of applause. Thank you, Mike King, as always, for giving us amazing events to come together, network, partner with the Hilton, and just provide a nice, safe space, right, to network among like-minded individuals in the business world.
Most people know Gather, but when a person comes in and they see it and they feel the magic, you see the light come on. What's that like?
Well, I do think it is revealing that we get so many good reviews because people say it's just a really great place to work. And the reason it is is our community managers. Those people that are at that front desk that are facilitating everything that's going on in the building. Those two people that run a facility that might hold 400 people, and we've got two folks that are running everything day to day. They are the magic. And that's what makes, I call them our secret weapons, because they actually are the ones that make it all happen.
One of the really cool cool parts about this is I've sort of been doing this business thing for a while. I remember when you were just opening down on Midlow, and we went and we did the hard hat tour, and you guys were in the building in the front. I didn't realize, sorry folks, I didn't realize that when I'm talking to Jonathan Greenhill from the chamber, that was him that day sitting there. Because I asked him about culture at the chamber, and he said, I kind of got a piece of that before where I was at when I was with Gather. And it dawned on me, that's what it was. So
right. John was with us for 3 years, a little over the 3 years, and he was great.
There you go. All right, Jimmy Budd, come on in, man. All right, so Kelvin Oliver, let's talk about when you know that Core Mortgage has made an impact in what you do. I know sports is your thing, but it also is education. Talk a little bit about what that means to you guys, and how do you set that? You have new employees who come on board. How do you get them to understand that it is a purpose-driven organization?
Well, I'm going to go in a little bit of a different direction, right? So I know earlier we talked about the financial impact. So one of the things that I think, just like in your personal life, obviously with your business, you have to budget. And I think you have to budget your giving, right? And you have to be, mindful and purposeful for what you want to do. So with us, we are giving a lot of people the pathway to home ownership, right? And so I'm a believer that home ownership is the foundation for creating any wealth in this country, right? So with that being said, now, don't tell anybody this now.
Right, yeah,
but
all right.
I actually,
sworn to secrecy.
Yeah, I actually budget, and I guess it could be akin to pro bono work for an attorney. But I know at the beginning of the year, there are going to be certain clients that we have that are going to need help getting over the finish line, right? So now when we start, I'm not telling them that, look, we've got this $5,000 sitting to the side, obviously because I want them to have some skin in the game. But I promise you, you will not find anybody that comes to our company and they get to the finish line and they're short and they're not going to get over the finish line, right? And so with that being said, I think when you have that attitude and when you do the proper budgeting, so then when it happens, you're not, man, I had to take a cut, I had to do, no, it's already built into the cake, right? We're going to do this, right? And so now I can't tell you the joy that I get, right? And we're the mortgage company, right? So let's be honest. Nobody wants a mortgage. Like, I want the house, right? Nobody wants what we have. It's just, it's that necessity to get what you want. But when you see the social media posts, right? And so I had a young lady, and this happened in the last 2 weeks, where she needed some help at the end, and I let her agent know, and I actually had a conversation with her father, and he and his wife, they weren't in a position to help. But I said, trust me, once we get to the finish line, we'll get her over. Just trust me. So they did. But then the Facebook post that I saw, and I didn't even know this part about being a single mom and the 2 children and what they had gone through, et cetera, then that's what we do it for, right? That's what we do it for.
One of the things I always hear is I listen to what the streets are saying. And when the streets said that the Midas location right up from our house was the #1 in the world, I'm like, in the world? I mean, the world's kind of like a big place. And I'm like, boy, that guy Mark Smith is really doing something. Alrighty, so when you talk to new franchisees or people out there, and they come to you and say, hey, how do you do that thing? When you drop them, okay, so you get the logistics part of it, you get that out of the way. And then you talk about the secret sauce about these other things being part of the community. Do people ever look at you sideways and kind of like miss that part?
They do. I'm going to piggyback on what Kelvin said. You've got to budget for this stuff.
Yes, I know. I asked you for money before. And you said, no, it's spoken for.
And no is not a 4-letter word. But when we talk budgeting, we budget for our community expenses. We know what we're going to reinvest in the community. But it all starts with our bottom line. If we don't have profitable businesses, if we don't run a show that generates a bottom line, then, best intentions are nothing more than best intentions. So 9 times a year, I travel North America speaking to my peers through the Midas Network, talking about this very thing. We reverse engineer a PRL from the bottom. We start at the bottom, and then we go through the entire fixed cost, variable cost, margin cost, and build it. Because it's got to be intentional. It's got to be deliberate. It's got to be intentional. It's got to be with budgeting and planning and forethought. And when you do it that way, you can construct whatever community give back model you want to construct. It's simple. It's not easy, but it's very simple.
So people you explain that to them that it has a direct effect on the bottom line, and sometimes people still question whether.
Oh, absolutely. There's the whole mindset, Mike, that this will never work in my market because. And if you go in with that approach, you're going to prove yourself right. Good for you. You're the smartest guy in the room. It didn't work. Go figure. Who knew? But if you go in it with a mindset that this is possible, there's a power of the possibility here, there's open ideas here, there's bringing in outside influencers who don't have automotive experience but sit at the table with me, there's a whole model. And I think this applies, I don't care if it's a car care shop, dress shop, a florist. I think the approach applies all over.
There you go. Rich, when we look at Fahrenheit, when did you and Keith look up and say, we got something here? And that way you were able to take it to the next level. You had a great story about when you guys realized you had something, when you started getting phone calls on the weekend.
Yeah, well, yeah, absolutely. Like all of us on the panel, we're consistently approached with the opportunity to invest in something different. I'm hopeful my CFO may not hear this because we haven't really budgeted for what our community giving is. We always kind of blow through it. We did not plan last year to be the main sponsor for American Heart Association, but when we looked at the impact we could have, we decided to do it. I think there's a couple of stories that come top of mind to me about our community impact and when we knew we had something behind this. When we were still an early stage company, we probably had 30 employees maybe at the time. We had an opportunity to host our team meeting at the Bird Theater, which was super cool. And the day before that meeting, I looked at Keith. I'm like, it would be cool if we did something unique and different. And we're passionate about giving. Let's share this with the team. So everybody that showed up at the meeting, they put their name in a hat, and we started to draw out names. We said, okay, so Mark, tell me, what are you passionate about? What do you support? And then we thought we'd give like $500 away, and suddenly our CFO was like,
it's always that numbers guy.
You gotta slow the roll. But it felt so great, and I didn't realize until after that meeting the impact it had on the team. We've done it every year, and in fact, tonight is the night that we hold this meeting. So now we have 140 people, so we're going to give more than $500 away.
What's the conversation when someone comes on board and they aren't exactly sure what you guys do from a community standpoint? Is that a regular meeting? Is that like, how do you transfer that knowledge and passion?
Yeah, I mean, we have a wonderful onboarding process that talks about the DNA of who we are. And I would suggest that folks come to us, like you just said, at the beginning of the show, right? You knew who we were.
Without knowing what you guys did.
Right. And I heard it yesterday. We were interviewing somebody, and they were talking about, I know what you guys stand for. I feel the culture when I walk through the door. Every conversation is consistent. So I think it starts before they come to us, but clearly we have a very good, well thought out onboarding process that walks us through how do we embed them in the culture.
Bryant and Stratton College helped me take charge of my future by being built different to give me more.
More flexibility, more opportunities to make it work, more choices that made financial sense, more ways to get ahead faster,
and more options, so I could work directly in patient care or in a medical office career. See how Bryant and Stratton College is built different for you.
Hola, at the Hilton downtown Richmond for our first annual Cocktails and Connections with Core Mortgage. Everyone here is welcome.
Hi, I'm Ricky McNeil with Fathom Realty. I do business with Core Mortgage. We here at Cocktail and Connections having a great time. Come on out next time.
Hey everyone, I'm Dewanda with Let's Do It Right Events, and I expect to see you at every event Core Mortgage hosts. Because guess what? If you need a mortgage or you want to connect and have cocktails, this is the place to be. Look forward to seeing you at their next event. Thank you.
How you doing? My name is Deon Fox. I'm here at the Core Mortgage Mixer. Kelvin Oliver's a good friend of mine. We go back to high school teammates. So, you know, good people, good crowd. He's a good person. See you at the next one.
Bryan and Stratton College prepared me to get ahead in nursing by being built different to give me more accommodating to fit my busy schedule, more affordable than I thought, so a nursing degree was within my reach, more support to help me along the way, and more quickly so I could get here as soon as possible. If you're ready for more, see how Bryan and Stratton College is built different for you.
Welcome everyone once again for coming out to Networking with Mike King. Please give Mike King a round of applause. Thank you, Mike King, as always, for giving us amazing events to come together, network, partner with the Hilton, and just provide a nice, safe space, right, to network among like-minded individuals in the business world.
This is the night that 10 years, 15, 20 years, you're going to be looking back and saying, I was here. There's an inflection point happening in technology. We get to lead it, and we get to lead it right here in Richmond.
We must prepare existing worker students and communities to be able to use AI so that no one is left behind.
The real story isn't AI itself. The real story is what AI makes possible. AI is the new keyboard. It's the new mouse. It's not the answer, it's the instrument. And the more people we hand that instrument to, the more possibilities we turn into realities.
People want to be together when you're making a difference. How can we make Richmond, make the region, and in part, all of Virginia, the most AI ready? A lot of people ask me, do we just want to be the Silicon Valley of the East Coast? The quote everybody keeps on having me re-ask is, no, my mission is for Silicon Valley to be the Richmond of the West Coast.
Mike King Biz, the premier business media brand covering and connecting Central Virginia. It's home to Mike King Biz Radio, producer of On the Mic with Mike RVA, which airs on ESPN Richmond 106.1 FM, The Choice 105.3 FM, and worldwide on IBGR.network. Follow Mike King Biz for the best business-ish content in RVA.
Hello, this is Juwanda Smith with Let's Do It Right Events. Welcome back to episode 3 of the Purpose Driven Panel mini-series. The purpose is to show how business helps society. Each business represented is an example of this. Joining us today, we have Dean Francis, Kelvin Oliver, Rich Reinecke, Mark Smith, and Polly White. All episodes can be found on Facebook at Mike King Biz.
But people who know me know that I shout out friends. I do. So Dean Francis, my man, is on the end. He's holding a water bottle for our good guy, Will Melton, the Richmond Water guy. So Dean is like one of the cheerleaders for Richmond Water. Really quickly, Dean, that is really a community endeavor because when Will Melton, who owns Exponent 21, which is an IT company, like it's a web design company, told me that he was going to start a water, I'm like, what? It's like, well, you see all of the, plastic water bottles, and hence Richmond Water. He's become the Richmond Water guy. So, Dean, that's our guy. Let's tell him a little bit about you and your bottle, because you always have it with you.
I do, and I think it just goes to my enthusiasm for the Richmond community. It was a simple way that I could always be communicating how much I love the Richmond community. So when I met Will, and Will's explaining to me, this is a can made in Richmond. The water that is in it is made in Richmond. The artist is from Richmond. And ultimately, it's reusable, and it gets us away from using plastic, which is really good and very healthy. But it's, it's part of our community. And it's just a simple way that I can be certainly putting some spotlight on Richmond Water, but also just embracing the community where I live.
Mike King here. We're coming to you from the Hilton. Hey, we got some good friends in the house. Some people have known me for a while, and others are new. But I always tell people know your brand before they know who you are. I'm going to give a couple shout-outs to folks. So all of my friends know that I'm down with with my good friends over at the Down Syndrome Association. So Virginia Downs. Yes, I have to. Virginia Down Syndrome, so they're here with us. Jimmy Budd, right there, is a good friend. Paula Pardell at Blue Matchmaking. And I'm just sort of going down that side of the room. We're going to do this a little bit more, Blue Matchmaking. So if you're in need of love, you need to talk to my friend Paula Pardell because she is a true matchmaker. And what we do is we use the platform for good. That's what this program is from a business standpoint. Paige is there from Neighbor Force. Man, we've gone back years. Congratulations on all the success, taking care of the seniors. I got a soft spot for seniors because I'm old. Exactly. They are a matchmaker. We're people who want to do good for the folks who need it. So
they're a lifesaver is what they are.
For sure. And they're out there doing some amazing things. Kelvin, let's go. One word for new entrepreneurs who are out there to put some purpose in their organization. One word. He's a wordsmith, so I'm okay.
One word.
Okay, more than that. Go ahead.
We're going to go back to passion.
Mm-hmm.
Passion, okay. Polly?
Oh, okay. How about thoughtful?
Do you ever have people in the organization who just don't get it? And what happens to...
So I think
Sorry about
hiring
that.
is an inexact science. It's both science and art, and so sometimes you do get it wrong. And I find that people who come in thinking they're going to love it and they don't stay long.
Okay.
Repeat your question.
One word on the power of purpose in your organization. And you're telling that to a young entrepreneur, a person who's just starting out.
accountability.
Ooh. Okay, sir, touch on that for a second. I just can't let you drop that one in on us.
If not you, then who? Right? I think it's our responsibility to take care of our community. I mean, I have a long commute in the morning, and I hear you a lot.
I do hear him a lot. I see him a lot.
I pay lots of money for you hearing me a lot. That's a good thing.
Something I think about with my business, and I'm sure you think about in your business, with why you are leveraging your marketing to talk about the impact you have, not about the service that you provide, right? People can go get accounting and finance or human resource consulting from a lot of places. Mm-hmm. They can go get their car cared for from a lot of places. So you choose who you partner with. So why not choose somebody that's passionate about giving back to your community, making an impact, serving you, right? That's accountability, right? And without the I think we all know that there is going to be a return, and it's hard to measure the economic impact of that all the time. We just have faith that we're doing the right thing, and the right thing is going to happen. And I'm a full believer that you just make the right decisions for the right reasons, and good things happen.
Completely.
Mark, when you first started, was the thoughtfulness and the purpose from day one, or did you sort of grow into it as you guys went along?
I bought the stores in 1998, and 1998, 99, and 2000 were a train wreck because I played by the rules. I competed on price, and if his oil change was cheaper than mine, I reduced my price, and I did this and I did that. And then I met a guy out in California. I was at a convention, and he taught me the idea behind reverse engineering your PRL, and it was life-changing for me. He then came to Richmond. He lives in Kelowna, British Columbia. To this day, he's probably my most trusted business confidant. He came to Richmond, spent a month. We gutted everything. And that's how we live. We just reverse engineer the whole thing, which leads me to my one word, which would be network.
Really good. So, and it's a network. And we've had the conversation. Explain that one to us.
So this is an ecosystem. This group here today, us, my employees, my vendors, my community partners, everybody exists in a network, and we all exist on choices, right? If we didn't, so how do you cultivate energy? How do you reinvest in that? How do you leave a campsite a little cleaner than you found it? You just build a network of people that you can add value to, and that in turn add value to you, and you make sure you come prepared.
Really quickly, this last question. So, Dean, you went from corporate America to your own venture. What part does purpose play in it? Because now you can do your own thing. You can set the stage exactly how you want to do it. What was the best part about that?
Freedom. So I was in a sense, in business for myself for those 30 years, but it was tied to a publicly traded company, and anytime you're tied to a publicly traded company, you're going to have those limitations. And so being able to actually start a company in my own backyard to have impact in the community I live, that is, I think, what fired me up. It's been freedom to dream, to get around people like you all that are here. I remember when I first met Mike, you talk about purpose. The second I'm meeting him, he's talking about nonprofits. That was what you and I had in common. I wanted to have an impact on nonprofits in our community. You are already doing that. And just to have that freedom to say, let's go, let's dream, let's think, how else can we work together how else can we as a company work with others together in this community to have more impact?
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to On the Mic. Mike, this is the CEOs. It is a purpose-driven CEO panel. So on the panel with me at the far, we have Dean Francis, One Bridge Advisors, Mark Smith-Midas, Rich Reinecke. I'm just putting more into it.
Yeah.
I'm giving a little bit of flair.
Not unusual, Mike. Not unusual.
With flair. Okay, Polly White of Gather. and Kelvin Oliver, Core Mortgage. Really quickly, so what we're doing is we're talking to business owners about being leaders in the community and people understanding the part that passion and purpose has on an organization. So we're going to talk really quickly. We're going to keep things moving because we're going to be mindful of people's time. So, KO, let's talk about, from a culture standpoint, what's it mean for you guys to have purpose in your organization, and how do you keep it going?
So I think, as we talked about earlier, it really comes from the top down, right? And so you have to, when you are setting out on your journey with your company, is really think about, like, what are we about? What do we want to be about, right? And so I think when you hire, obviously you're looking for people who have similar mindsets that will fit the culture. And, you know, you keep it going by doing things in the community, being consistent, being intentional, and you have to hire, I think, with those same virtues in mind, because it only takes one person that can unravel everything when it comes to morale, et cetera. I also think that one of the words used earlier was accountability, right? And I think that is a strong and it's a powerful word, because it's so easy to point the finger at other people, other things, or what have you. So in our business right now, everybody knows that interest rates are higher than what they've been, right? Well, guess what? We've actually had 3 of our best months the last 3 months. Like, that should not happen. I attribute that to the culture, my teammates, and just having a positive attitude, right? Because there's every reason in the world to say, oh my God, we can't do it, it'll never work, we'll never make it. But it's amazing how just having a positive attitude can move you so much further. So.
Bryant and Stratton College helped me take charge of my future by being built different to give me more.
More flexibility. More opportunities to make it work. More choices that made financial sense. More ways to get ahead faster.
And more options, so I could work directly in patient care or in a medical office career. See how Bryant and Stratton College is built different for you.
Hola, hola, Adriana here at the Hilton downtown Richmond for our first annual Cocktails and Connections with Core Mortgage. Everyone here is welcome.
Hi, I'm Ricky McNeil with Fathom Realty. I do business with Core Mortgage. We here at Cocktails and Connections having a great time. Come on out next time.
Hey everyone, I'm Duwanda with Let's Do It Right Events, and I expect to see you at every event Core Mortgage hosts. Because guess what? If you need a mortgage or you want to connect and have cocktails, this is the place to be. Look forward to seeing you at their next event. Thank you.
How you doing? My name is Deon Fox. I'm here at the Core Mortgage Mixer. Kelvin Oliver's a good friend of mine. We go back to high school teammates. So, you know, good people, good crowd. He's a good person. See you at the next one.
Bryant and Stratton College prepared me to get ahead in nursing by being built different to give me more. More accommodating to fit my busy schedule, more affordable than I thought, so a nursing degree was within my reach. More support to help me along the way, and more quickly, so I could get here as soon as possible. If you're ready for more, see how Bryant and Stratton College is built different for you.
Welcome everyone once again for coming out to Networking with Mike King. Please give Mike King a round of applause. Thank you, Mike King, as always, for giving us amazing events to come together, network, partner with the Hilton, and just provide a nice, safe space, right, to network among like-minded individuals in the business world.
Already on the mic here. So, Polly, we have nonprofits in the room. Please offer, and this is for the rest of the folks on the panel too, the idea of the position that a nonprofit could be in to help themselves when they approach a business for help.
Oh, when they're coming to
When
a
they
for-profit
ask.
business.
Yes, when they're coming for the ask. And I always say, changing the world ain't cheap, easy, or free. That's it. Money got to change hands somewhere. Somebody has to say, we're going to help. So XYZ nonprofit shows up. What's the best thing that they could do to be prepared to approach a business?
They have to have thought through what they're asking for and why that should matter to that company. So they need to not just come in and ask for dollars, but they have to ask for dollars for something specific, and here's why your company is uniquely the right company to support this effort because of what you've done in the past or who your constituency is or because of a passion they might know about. So that before they can come and do an ask, they have to get to know you and your company. Because otherwise you're just walking in and asking for dollars. And you have to know whether you want dollars or do you want time or is there something else the company could do for you? You know, occasionally we give space, because we can give an in-kind donation rather than dollars, or we can give something that you can auction off. We can give you, a membership kind of thing that you can auction off to somebody. So you have to be really cognizant of what you want to ask and why.
Okay. So, Rich, let's talk a little bit about the idea of the in-kind donation. Because that's one. Because as Polly had said, people are going to show up and they, hey, can you give me money? But there's some other options that people can take when they're coming to ask a business for help.
I had an interesting conversation yesterday with an organization doing a little research on how do you have an impact with an organization beyond just giving $1? And you're right, there's limited dollars to go around, but my impact could be 10x that, depending on what you're asking me for. In business, we try and research the organizations that we want to go sell things to, so we understand the relationships that we have there that we can leverage, or the impact we can have, understand their industry and the challenges they're facing, and then we present to them, like, here's what I think we bring to you. And I think nonprofits should be doing the same thing. If they're coming to your organization, right? Maybe it's how do you help them understand the culture you've built of giving to the community, right? And how do they embrace that? I think that, so thinking broader, I think as you just outlined, Polly, is beyond the dollar, what do you want the organization, what relationship do you want to have? And our organization, if nonprofits are going to research our company and understand our brand, they know we're committed to the community. We built our space, which you've been to support the nonprofit community in addition to our business. So we host board meetings and fundraising events. We host holiday parties for nonprofits. We charge $0 for anybody to access any of that. That's our purpose.
And you guys are across the board. I've been there for the American Heart Association. I was there when you guys did a Juneteenth celebration. It's just using your space for the power of good. All righty, Mark, your thoughts on when people show up at the doorstep. Some ideas.
They fall into three categories historically. I'm going to go where Polly went. You've got groups that come in very well prepared. They've done a little bit of homework about us. They know directionally where we go with kids, with hunger, with education, and they somehow make a connection and tell a story that is compelling enough to engage us. St. Joseph's Villa. The first time I met Jenny there was on a cold call. She said, just come take a walk of the campus. It's right there at 1 in Parham. If you've never been, it's a really well-kept secret, and I knew very little about it. So we're walking around, and there's a bunch of raised garden beds, and that's a hobby of mine, so I asked her about it, and she said, well, it's part of our culinary program, and I cook on the side, so tell me about that. I walk into this kitchen, and there's 9 kids, 16, 17-year-old kids making pizzas from scratch. So at this point, I'm completely in love. I'm like, okay, she doesn't know yet, but I'm in. So we leave, and she says, well, yeah, the program's going away. And I said, why? And she said, budget cuts. I said, okay, budgets I get, let's find a table. Big and little is, we left that conversation with the understanding that for the next 10 years, this was 4 years ago, 5 years ago, for the next 10 years, we would pay the salary of the person who runs that program as long as the program did not get cut. So she made a really good connection, a bit accidentally. Then you've got the groups that just come in, I won't say ill-prepared, because they just don't know why they're there. They're there saying, can I have money? Right. And then you've got the group that I have the most fun with, which are the aggressively not prepared. And they all fall into there somewhere.
The aggressively non-prepared. That has to be a fun one.
You've given money to Feedmore for so many years. Why not me? And that's the direct quote.
Okay.
Wow. And there's some fun responses to that if you give it some time.
I can imagine. So that was St. Joe's Villa. What was it about when you ran across the others that it was? Oh, you said let's talk about the milk program.
Love that.
It is.
I love
it's
that
just
program.
like the concept is cool. Talk a little bit about the idea, and we know your story. You've told that. We see you on TV telling that story. Yes, sir, we do. So your dollars are well spent. Talk a little bit about the power of that.
It's the power of the possible, Mike. Every Friday morning, Katie or myself or Patty will take 25 gallons of milk to Goose and Cares and 25 gallons of milk to the Colonial Heights Food Pantry. It's fun. It's energetic. If you get to the food pantry at the right time, you might meet the people who are getting it. There's all the stories that just allow you to connect the dots. Shalom Farms, when Dom approached me about, they used to be way out Patterson, way out Patterson. And one of the things we pay attention to is volunteer experience management. So if they volunteer for a nonprofit, what experience does a nonprofit give? Well, based upon where the farm was, it wasn't a good experience for our volunteers. So they got offered a parcel there at 288 in Robias, and Dom approached me and said, if you underwrite the move, I promise you we'll give no less than 35,000 pounds of fresh produce a year to Feedmore. Wow. And to date, they've never given less than 100,000 pounds of fresh produce. So people who take the time to think it through and connect the dots and make a very logical return, we're not talking profit here, we're talking some type of return. And when they kind of complete the circle, if you will, that's all I need to see.
We're going to go down the panel. So, Dean, what is it when you see nonprofits, and you really have put the pedal to the metal talking to nonprofits, what is it that you see the well-run ones, like the ones that are effective? What's something that you notice there?
They have great leaders that are very clear on their purpose and what they want to achieve. You can see it. Everything's well communicated, and so kind of like Polly was describing, when they ask you for something, they've thought it through. Anyway, these things stand out.
Mark, same question.
Same answer. It's who's the point of the spear.
Okay, Rich?
I think those that approach their leadership as leading a business, not a nonprofit. I think a great example of that is, Store 365 here in Richmond. They have a phenomenal leader that comes from a business background, and they approach it like a business.
Polly, thoughts?
I think people have pretty much said it. Yeah, it's all about really running a good, tight organization, and that comes from your leaders.
Kelvin Oliver.
I'm going to go a little bit in a different direction. One of the things that I look at is I like to see an organization that is actually doing or accomplishing what their mission is. And without saying any names, there was one organization that they were supposed to be doing housing, but somehow they had like the slot machines, and I couldn't make the connection. It was like the weirdest thing, but something so simple in like your mission statement that you actually do what you say you do. So that's important for me as well.
Bryant and Stratton College helped me take charge of my future by being built different to give me more.
More flexibility. More opportunities to make it work. More choices that made financial sense. More ways to get ahead faster.
And more options, so I could work directly in patient care or in a medical office career. See how Bryant and Stratton College is built different for you.
Hola, hola, Adriana here at the Hilton downtown Richmond for our first annual Cocktails and Connections with Core Mortgage. Everyone here is welcome.
Hi, I'm Ricky McNeil with Fathom Realty. I do business with Core Mortgage. We here at Cocktail and Connections having a great time. Come on out next time.
Hey everyone, I'm DeWanda with Let's Do It Right Events, and I expect to see you at every event Core Mortgage hosts. Because guess what? If you need a mortgage or you want to connect and have cocktails, this is the place to be. Look forward to seeing you at their next event. Thank you.
How you doing? My name is Deon Fox. I'm here at the Core Mortgage Mixer. Kelvin Oliver's a good friend of mine. We go back to high school teammates. So, you know, good people, good crowd. He's a good person. See you at the next one.
Bryant and Stratton College prepared me to get ahead in nursing by being built different to give me more. More accommodating to fit my busy schedule, more affordable than I thought, so a nursing degree was within my reach. More support to help me along the way, and more quickly, so I could get here as soon as possible. If you're ready for more, see how Bryant and Stratton College is built different for you.
Mike King Biz, on the Mic with Mike, Richmond's premier business radio platform.
Making moves. Judging how you judge it, say we going corporate. Nah, we just corner boys with the corner office. I'm at the cap table, what the splits is. Not that cap table, boy, we live this.
Promoting how business can make the community better. No one does it better than Mike King Biz, on the Mic with Mike. Check it out. Mike King Biz, on the Mic with Mike, Richmond's premier business radio platform.
Making moves. Judging how you judge it, say we going corporate. Nah, we just corner boys with the corner office. I'm at the cap table, what the splits is. Not that cap table, boy, we live this.
Promoting how business can make the community better. No one does it better than Mike King Biz.
Alright, good morning, and welcome back to another episode of PR Power with Joe. Man, it has been a week, but let's get going, let's get talking about a few things. Alright, so today on this episode of PR Power with Joe, we're talking about urgency versus strategy. Why moving fast isn't always moving forward. Alright, so today let's talk about something that always comes up in business, especially for founders, entrepreneurs, and nonprofit leaders. And that is the idea of urgency. Because a lot of people think if something feels urgent, it means it has to be done immediately. But what I want to challenge you today is this. There's a difference between urgency and reckless urgency. Yes, you heard me right, reckless urgency. And if you don't understand the difference, you can actually hurt your business, your brand, and your relationships. So, let's talk about what people typically get wrong when it comes to this. Most people equate urgency with speed. They think if I don't act now, I'm going to miss the opportunity. So they quickly go ahead and they send that email too fast, they make the ask too quickly, and they bring people into things that aren't fully thought through. And in the moment, in the heat of it, it feels productive because you're getting things done and you're able to check it off the list, right? But zooming out a little bit from a PR standpoint, what I see is something very different. I see unclear messaging, misaligned expectations, and damaged credibility, because urgency without clarity creates confusion. And confusion is the fastest way for people to lose trust in your business, in your brand, and even you. So this is where I really want to pause and I want to explain something, because a lot of people don't fully understand what PR counsel is. So I like to say, marketing is the tree, PR is the forest, if that makes sense. So PR is not just about posting on social media, getting press, and sending out those emails. PR is an actual management function that should be utilized, and it should be considered when you're going through your business goals and when you're doing your planning for the year. So it's not just, hey, I need to show up more on social media, I need a social media post. I want to get past just the, hey, we need to do more on social media. That's kind of in the realm of marketing, something that you do that gets you a fast result. I want to know, hey, where do you want to be in 5 years? Where do you want to be in 10 years? How do you want people to perceive your business, your brand, or even you as an entrepreneur or a founder? PR is the long game. That's where PR comes into play in all of this. So we should think about how every move that you make, how it's going to impact your reputation, your relationships, and long-term positioning. So that forest versus the trees. So when someone comes to me with something that feels urgent, I'm not asking how fast can we do this. I'm asking, what is the goal? Who's involved? How will this be received? What are the risks? Because once you make a move publicly, you can't take it back. You can't undo how it was perceived. Remember the saying, first impression is a lasting impression? It's the same thing when it comes to your business and your brand. So I had a moment recently that really highlights this. There was a situation where something needed to be done quickly, and the expectation was immediate action. But when I stepped back and I looked at it, I realized this isn't about speed. This is about clarity, structure, and whether the ask even makes sense. And that's where a lot of founders struggle, because they're moving fast, they're building, and they're trying to make things happen. And hey, I get it. I'm an entrepreneur myself, and sometimes I have to tell myself this. I have to slow down and make sure that I'm not losing that intended impact, that I'm not losing the clarity and the structure that needs to be there, because I'm trying to move quickly and I'm trying to make sure that I'm being productive. And not every urgent situation is actually ready to be executed. Sometimes the most strategic thing you can do is pause. Not because you're slow, but because you're intentional. That's one of my favorite words, is intention. So, if you're listening to this and you feel like everything in your business is urgent, I want you to ask yourself 3 things. Number 1, what is the actual goal here? Not just what needs to be done, but why does it need to be done? Why am I sending out a press release? Why am I posting on social media? Ask yourself those questions, because sometimes in the moment, it feels like the right thing to do and it might feel like a no-brainer. But when you take a step back and you actually ask yourself that simple question, why am I doing this? Now you start to think, hey, okay, what is my desired outcome? What is my desired goal that I'm hoping to achieve from this? And is sending a press release really the best avenue, the best route, the best vehicle of getting you to where it is that you want to go? Number 2, do I have enough information to move forward confidently? Or am I filling in gaps as I go? That's very important to ask yourself, do I have everything that I need to know? Do I have all the information? Am I making an informed decision? Am I making, even if you're having to guess, you want to make sure that you're making an educated assumption. And number 3, this is the biggest of them all. How will this impact my brand and my relationships? Because everything you do communicates something. And if you can't answer those questions clearly, it's not ready. It's not ready for the public to perceive it. It's not ready for the public to consume it. It's just not ready. It's not showtime. So I hope that before you do anything, you hear Joe in your head saying, hey, number 1, what is the actual goal here? Number 2, do I have enough information to move forward confidently? Number 3, how will this impact my brand and my relationships? All right, so here is what I want to leave you with today. You can move fast and still be intentional. But when you sacrifice clarity for urgency, you end up doing more work, fixing more problems, and sometimes repairing relationships that didn't have to be strained in the first place. So the next time something feels urgent, I want you to pause and ask yourself, is this actually ready? Or does it just feel urgent? Because how you move matters just as much as what it is you do. You have to always be thinking long-term, long game. You have to be thinking, where do I want to see my business, my brand, myself in 5 years, in 10 years? That positioning. Not so much focusing on the immediate. Like I said, the tree versus the forest. And when it comes to PR, we're always looking at the forest. We're always looking at, how can I position myself? It's very important of how your business, how your brand, and how you as an individual, how you make people feel. I was listening to a podcast recently and I heard someone say, marketing gets to the pockets, PR gets to the heart. And that is so very true, because when it comes to PR, you're forming how people think about you and your brand and how you and your brand make them feel. So somebody will be willing to go to a restaurant that invokes feelings of nostalgia, because let's say breakfast. When you think of breakfast, breakfast feels like home. Breakfast feels cozy. Breakfast just feels very relaxing and cozy. And that's intentional. When you go to a restaurant that makes you feel that way, that's intention. That's PR, because the cups, the music that's playing, maybe there's a fireplace, the pictures that are hung on the wall, all of those things go into creating a moment and creating a feel. All of those things are PR, because it's not just about getting people in the door and getting them to purchase something. It's getting people to come back over and over and over again, and for people to say, hey, that diner that I visited, it made me feel at home. It made me feel, it reminded me of my childhood. That's something that's curated. That's intentional. It just doesn't happen out of the blue. And so the thing is that make sure that everything that you're doing it with intention, and that you're always thinking about how people are perceiving your brand, perceiving your business, and perceiving you as a founder. And so, back to urgency. You want to make sure that when you're moving, and sometimes urgency is definitely needed. You just want to make sure that when you're moving with that urgency, it's not taking away from the long term. It's not taking away from the overall picture. You're making sure that you're keeping your eyes on the forest. You're keeping your eyes on where you want to go and what it is that you're crafting and you're curating. All right, that's all I have for you guys today. That has been PR Power with Joe, and I will see you next week. All right, so wrapping this up, speed does not replace strategy. You can move fast and still be intentional, but when you sacrifice clarity for urgency, you end up doing more work, fixing problems, and sometimes repairing relationships that didn't need to be strained in the first place. So the next time something feels urgent, pause and ask yourself, is this actually ready, or does it just feel urgent? Because how you move matters just as much as what you do. This has been PR Power with Joe, and I will see you next time.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to One of Mike is Mike, the premier business program in the Central Virginia market. I am Mike King, your host. You can follow us on social media at One of Mike is Mike, as well as MIKEKINGBIZ. Daily, we are on from Monday to Friday from 10 a.m. to 12. That's where you find us on the web. So that is LinkedIn, Instagram, Facebook, as well as YouTube. And then we also have a Saturday show, which is called The Best Of. It is on ESPN Richmond. Well, when I'm out there, I'm just a humble public servant. I hear people out there doing some amazing things. So these young, I don't want to call you guys young Thundercats, but that's what you guys are talking about all this stuff about data and the importance of it. For people who are not in your world, we're just here data. It doesn't really mean as much until we start talking the practical applications of what it means. So we got Trip, we have Tom, we have Laura. Welcome to the program, folks.
Thanks for having us.
Thanks, Mike.
All right.
Thanks, Mike.
All right, Trip, we'll start off with you. Tell us who you guys are, what you do, and you guys have some big things happening in our market.
All right, so I'm Trip Gilmore. I'm a senior BI and reporting analyst for a company, an insurance company, TDC Specialty Underwriting, the doctor's company, Specialty Underwriting. We specialize in medical malpractice insurance, and my responsibility is to build and maintain the reporting systems for them. Outside of that, I'm one of the organizers for RVA Data Enthusiast. So I have a bit of a technical background when it comes to data, AI, reporting, data science, data engineering, and it gives me that perspective and help me communicate with people that may not have that perspective.
Here you go. So Tommy, you're up next.
Thanks for having us, Mike. I am also one of the community organizers for RVA Data Enthusiasts, and I work as an account manager with Tech Systems. This gives us an interesting background as far as the business challenges side of things, where we get to, speak with leaders on a day-to-day, but also in these community events where we're not as technical, we get to go in and learn a little bit more from people that are doing things in the field. It was a big reason why I got involved with RVA Data Enthusiasts to begin with.
Here we go. All right, so next up, last but not least, Laura Mosley is in the building. Okay, so Laura has a radio background like I do. She is the radio voice as well. I don't. I spent years at Summit Media, and she spent years at Summit Media. But now you've gone away from the radio media world. Now you're hanging out with the data scientists, techie guys. Tell us who you are, what you do.
Awesome. Thanks, Mike. Yeah, I'm an account executive. I also work for Tech Systems and like Tech Systems Global Services for the past 6 years, actually. And that was a transition from radio into sales into kind of technology and all of that in the orbit. So I personally represent the financial services and insurance vertical here at Tech Systems, but I specialize in data services. So I'm not a tech person per se. I'm more on the business side, but I've always been tech adjacent, at least for the last 10 plus years. Speaking with developers, working with project and product owners. And I do have the vantage point of working with both customers and talent within data engineering, data science, BI, and also development. So getting that unique kind of positioning between those two cohorts.
One of the things we always talk about, so there's the data side and it's big data, we hear all that. But when it drills down to its business or personal applications, that's when it becomes real. Because all of a sudden it turns into, wow, we had this opportunity and we had this, just like I said, I was worried and people were concerned about mapping with the data scientists. COVID happens and now I see that becomes real. Knowing people who people are, all of a sudden before it was just theory. So could touch on that part of it for me.
Absolutely. So one of the things that I like to call myself is I like to call myself a data storyteller. You collect all this information and you run all the numbers, do a lot of math, and you tell a story based on what happened in the past. And with that data, you could also predict with some semblance of accuracy what could happen in the future. So what separates the good from the great is their ability to tell a story with that data that is digestible to any kind of people. So from that technical aspect, it's really important for folks like me on the back end to be able to communicate effectively with people who are more on the front end, customer facing side.
So for Tommy and Laura, for you guys, you're kind of like on the side where I am. So, Trip is out there talking technical, and he's using big words, and, they put the hyphen between them. And we're just like, okay, you guys are able to talk to lay people about, okay, this is what we're doing here, enthusiasts, but this is the reason why that you guys are having an event. This is the reason why, because these are practical business applications.
Right. And, like Trip mentioned earlier, our group allows anyone the opportunity to present on interesting topics. So from business leaders talking about their recent successes to students showcasing capstone projects or startups pitching new tools, we want to, partner further with these different universities in our area, Virginia Union, Virginia State, Virginia Commonwealth, University of Richmond, and get students into the rooms with professionals in their field where we can really get a mixture of people together that are more technical, less technical. Some are business oriented, some are there for networking purposes, some are looking to test their chops at presenting and getting out in front of people. That's a big muscle to learn how to flex, especially as you're getting into the work field. So that's really what Laura and I came here to do, was to get out, get in front of people, talk to folks, and build relationships.
Also, Laura, you have an event coming up, Laura. So tell us, what can people expect and understand, and also to tell folks who are not techies, don't be scared. You guys can come and you'll be able to get something out of this.
Yeah, absolutely. So the reason that I got involved in this, if I'm being transparent, it was several years ago. And a lot of the folks in my ecosystem and people that I interact with day to day are either like business stakeholders or like the talent that I mentioned in development, data engineering, and data science. And it's a perfect intersection for those groups to get together without any sort of guise for what's going on in the day-to-day and understanding some of these trends in their market, understanding what decisions need to be made, and understanding what players are in the field, and getting the chance to have like a more of an organic kind of coming together. It is a very low-key event. It's not one of these big fancy conferences where you need to show up and wearing a name tag. I mean, we provide name tags, but they're not pre-printed. Pizza, there's drinks, there's a little bit of a social hour in the beginning, leading into the speaker sessions, and followed up by any questions. And it was a really great opportunity to also see who is in the area, understand some of the talent trends, the job trends, career trends, and hiring trends as well across the Commonwealth. And just really kind of giving us an opportunity to get out in the field. Now, I'm also very heavily connected, as are most of us, with the RVA technology community through RVA Tech as an organization. And we were fortunate enough to be shouted out as the community partner at the Data and AI Summit that occurred in March. And so this is something that is going to continue to, help us gain momentum, but we also want to continue to maintain that inclusive feel and make sure that people know, like as Tommy mentioned, everybody is welcome. We're actually continuing to assemble speakers for this year. We're booked out through July, but we want to keep it a little bit more fluid and make sure that folks have the opportunity to talk about things. And I can't stress enough how diverse the topics can be. So if you do have a topic related to business intelligence, data science, data analytics, or AI, of course, to be able to reach out to us, speak out, and see if that's something that you could do.
Hey, Trip, how can people get information about the event?
So we host our events on the group called Meetup. That is the app itself, and that's where we host our events. We are also active on LinkedIn. RVA Data Enthusiasts is where you can find us.
Okay, and the event that is happening in May, what are the particulars?
So our event in May is a really exciting event for us. It's our first panel, and we've got an excellent lineup of folks coming from education, private sector, public sector, and nonprofit to give a variety of perspectives on how they use their data in the day-to-day life. It's one thing to talk about all these fantastic, complex tools that might go over people's heads. I'll fully admit, a lot of times they go over my head. But this event, what we're going to do is talk about how they're going to use their data to drive their decision-making. What do they need? How can they get it? What do they do?
Like I said, we were at the AI Ready event with the two Wills, Melton and Willis, and that one was a perfect example of what you guys are talking about. I was a nerd before it was cool to be a nerd, but I'm not a techie guy. I am not. So when you look at people across that room, there are people who are highly technical, all the way to the other side, which are salespeople or people who are just, they're there and they understand to be there, but that technology is not their thing. So you're able to talk to people, hey, here's the technology. And Laura, like you said, here's the way to use it. Business owners and, entrepreneurs, heads of businesses can use it as a tool. So the date, once again, is May
6th.
May 6th. And the information can be found where?
On LinkedIn and Meetup.
All right. And so you said, so Tommy, you don't have to be, super technical to walk in there and just let everybody know, just come on through.
Oh yeah, just come through, have a good time, enjoy yourselves. We have a really nice community. Everybody's very welcoming, very kind, and it's a great opportunity to just get out, especially if you're a student or a young professional, to get in a more intimate setting. Those big events are really, really great for what they are as a big event, but getting these monthly meetups where you're developing cadence and you're developing relationships with people that are in the professional fields that you're hoping to be in or you're hoping to grow in, we've found has been a really underserved market in some ways. And so we've, tried to step in there with the other meetup groups as well. You've got the data science meetup group, the SQL meetup group, Python, the Cloud Wranglers. There's a lot of great groups around Richmond, and to not engage them, I think, would be a disservice to yourself as a young professional.
One of the things I want to touch on very quickly is that Tommy and Trip, sorry fellas, but this is a conversation I have with Laura. The women in this area on a technology standpoint is the women tech scene is outrageous. It is totally on fire. Touch on what that means to you. There used to be a time where we ain't letting girls in. They're not into this thing. Now when you look around, and shout out to my friends like Lori Jennings, who is out there, LJ really is making it happen. Touch on what it's like for young girls or women to be in the tech space now.
Absolutely. And I'm glad you asked, Mike, because I am also on the planning committee for the Women in Tech conference that happens every fall from RVA Tech. And we actually sold out for the first time last year. We reached the 600 number that can fit within the Science Museum, which is where it's been held for the last few years. And it's a prominent venue for the RVA Tech scene. But just to see the evolution of women in technology here in Richmond and what that actually means. I mean, you have pioneers in the field leading all the way up to the VP and the C-suite level that are women. And I think we've gotten past this like tokenization element that women should be included. And now women are ending up dominating the field in a lot of areas from the top down. And I think that really resonates and shows. So it's not just folks that are at the front lines driving some of the work and the actual development. You know, there's always women up and coming in development from, you know, an educational perspective, but now you're seeing it all the way through the business cycle. There's people that have come from more of a business background or a product ownership background, and then they evolve into more of this technical side and can rise through the ranks there as well. So we have a group of outstanding women that are on the board for that, that are generating some of the buzz over the last few years. And then we're also accumulating more and more folks throughout the Commonwealth that come to speak as speakers at these Women in Tech conferences. They fill up the keynote lineups, they fill up the breakout sessions, and they're also guiding the culture as well to be a lot more inclusive, to be able to have these conversations, and also from a networking standpoint, to be able to accelerate the career journey by only facilitating conversations with contacts they know within the field. So we're seeing a great representation across the board, and it's really kind of creating a much more diverse experience from a small meetup perspective all the way up to the state level at some of these bigger conferences.
There you go. That's Laura, Tommy, Trip. I'd like to thank you for coming on the program. Trip, one last time, how can people get information about the event?
All right, so our event is going to be on May 6th on Wednesday, starting at 5:30, and it is called Data in Action, How Leaders Use Their Data. We have an excellent lineup of leaders in the area. We have Steve McLaughlin, the Chief Data Officer of the Virginia State Police. We have Ashley Ford, one of the heads of data science at CarMax, Neelam Singh, one of the heads of data analytics at UNOS, and Dr. Peter Aiken, professor at VCU. So we've got education, public sector, private sector, non-profit. We've got such a wide variety of industries and perspectives and really interesting individuals that I'm really excited to moderate that panel for and ask them questions, and then let the audience interact with them as well to see how the data is being used to drive decision making.
There you go. Trip, how can we get to you individually, Tommy and Laura as well? How can we get to you on LinkedIn?
Feel free to reach out to me personally, Trip Gilmore on LinkedIn. And also we have our LinkedIn page for RVA Data Enthusiasts.
Tommy?
I'm also on LinkedIn, Tommy Cravens. I post all the time. Laura does as well. I'm sure you'll see us on your feeds at some point. And then you can also reach out to us, like Trip said, at the RVA Data Enthusiast LinkedIn page.
There you go.